Hi, my name is Corey Champ. This is my Learning Manifesto reflection for digital leading and learning. Out of the guidelines that were generated, we were asked, what are we truly passionate about? Well, one word comes to mind: Darwinism. Given that science is my passion, all aspects of science reflect upon my theory. Darwinism is a theory of biological evolution developed by the English naturalist Charles Darwin and others, stating that all species of organisms arise and develop through the natural selection of small, inherited variations that increase the individual's ability to compete, survive, and reproduce, also called Darwinian theory. Without this knowledge or lack of, I feel society is crippled in a social, mental, spiritual, and physical aspect of growth through human nature. I stress the importance to my students every single day in a way in which they can understand. For example, defeat is obsolete. Do not let a single grade contradict abilities. That frame of thinking falls under the fixed mindset category. Establishing a growth mindset will have an everlasting effect. My students believe in me just as much as I believe in them. If one experiences a subpar grade on a test or assignment, frustrations arise and some quickly crumble due to inadequateness. A part of Darwinism is adaptation. One has to adapt to any environment or situation in order to thrive and survive. Simply, do not let a bad grade dictate who you are. Do not let this take away from your character. Learn from the experience. Take those feelings and use that energy into a productive manner. This does not mean that you are not smart. This does not mean that you cannot succeed. It's a challenge, and this challenge will help you if you allow it to evolve and grow. Once they apply this method, smiles, joy, happiness is felt throughout the entire room. Sometimes, well, all the time, our students need reassurance that we care. By doing so, their confidence and drive is elevated beyond belief. We need to ask ourselves, who made an everlasting impression upon us growing up? Who was there for us in time of need? Who provided constructive criticism which enabled us to push beyond our beliefs? Basically, who cared? As educators, we did not get here on our own. We had several role models on and off campus who helped shape and mold us into who we are at this present moment. We must do this for our students. I must do this for my students. From this example, my passion is clearly felt and understood. I must continue to elevate my students' mental process through elevation and adaptation. They will learn to look at life and education in a different manner. What may seem bad is not actually bad. Good always prevails. Failure is not failure. It's a challenge. And by embracing such challenges, growth and strength to want more and do more shall arise. A quote by Henry Adams comes to mind. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. I've had this for a couple of years on my laptop as a friendly reminder to myself. What we do is important and should be embraced on all levels. Now, moving on to another topic of my manifesto. What do I think are emerging issues related to digital leading and learning at the state, regional, national, or global context? Well, there are several issues at hand. But what stems out the most, in my opinion, is resistance to change. Resistance to technology comes in several forms. One of the key resistant challenges is comfort with the status quo. Teachers and school leaders often see technological experimentation as outside the scope of their job descriptions. Well, sorry, not sorry. That's absolutely wrong. Now ask yourself, what is the relationship between a VHS, a Bokeh camcorder, a compact disc, and lecturing all day? It's prehistoric, old news, redundant, and sad. You get the gist of what I'm saying. I had to kind of let that marinate in your head. Basically, not every student can conform to educators set in their ways. This backs my first statement of Darwinism, adaptation and evolution. Kids these days are born into a technological world. If we want to continue to reach them, adapting with an open mind is inevitable. Lecturing is fine to a certain degree, but it's not the only way to reach them. Some may feel they will lose control. If proper classroom management is handled at the beginning of the school year, the students will be perfectly fine. At my campus, we incorporate the use of tablets and instructional videos throughout the day to aid in learning. The kids are more receptive and highly engaged when this takes place. As time progresses, hopefully more technological advances will take place over the dreaded lecturing. It mainly depends on funding throughout our district. Now, before I move on to the next topic, I must address educators set in their ways one more time. It's one thing to be stuck, yet another to have no clue of what's going on. Please, do not let this be the deciding factor, okay? There's an abundance of PLNs, which is professional learning networks. I recently did a discussion post with my classmates, and the topic was over PLNs. There's so many people just like us in education, local, state, national, and worldwide. Professional learning networks give us the tools and resources to further teaching and development in every aspect of education, especially technology. My number one choice was TCH, which is the Teaching Channel. It provides videos, questionnaires, and statements from educators just like us. It takes us into the minds of educators, what they think, how they address and function within the classroom. Ultimately, don't be afraid of change. There's too many people to connect and build with in order to stay relevant. All you have to do is ask and try. Another topic was what's going on with education and what should be done to fix it. This has been an ongoing occurrence. Some schools cannot keep up with rapidly changing technology. Upgrading equipment is a costly procedure. This requires a lot of manpower to uphold the transition. This falls under funding. Fortunately, my district is constantly growing and adding new campuses yearly, but not every district is fortunate. Teachers in other districts are getting paid less, and some schools can barely have the proper upkeep to be ran in a productive manner. This has been an ongoing issue within the educational system. The government receives funding for all sorts of programs, including military, DEA, task force, etc. Hopefully, all school districts can be in good standing in the years to come. Lastly, I believe digital learning is needed. It's here to stay, and others need to jump on board if they haven't done so by now. Educating students is only one aspect of teaching. Educating self is the other half. Taking time out of a work week or on the weekend should help people who are timid of this change. It's here to stay, so why not learn as much as possible? Just like we tell students, do not approach learning as a chore, this should be felt towards everyone. Too many formats allow generations of all ages to learn and grow mentally. If taken into consideration without out of the box thinking and creative processing that will engulf everyone in the learning and teaching aspect, society will be in a much better place. Like anything in life, it takes time. Digital learning is a way of life. I'm doing my part, and hopefully you shall as well. Thank you.